Hey PC Gamers, and welcome back to the PC Gamer Chat Log. I am Lauren Morton, and I'm here with Mollie Taylor.
Hey everyone.
And this week, Mollie and I are talking to our associate editor, Ted Litchfield, about RPGs and romances in RPGs, because we, Mollie and I, have many opinions about this subject, about who you should romance, what actually makes a good romance in an RPG. I mean, is it all about the system? Is it all about the characters? We might be putting even some of our favorites on blast a little bit for how they handle romance occasionally, but I think it's very easy to say that, like, this is a thing people care about. Even if you want to pretend that you're not into the romance side of RPGs, don't lie to me. I know you have strong opinions too about who is the favorite pick. And fortunately, so does Ted, confirmed RPG man with opinions about picking partners. So Ted's going to be joining us to talk about that. But before then, Mollie, what did you do last week?
Yeah, so can you believe I actually did something that wasn't playing Tekken 7 or going to
Literally,
the arcade?
no. I
Crazy,
can't.
right? It's I mean, I still did those two things, don't get me wrong. I still did both of those things. I played Tekken and I went to the arcade. But I spoiled this because I was talking to you right before we
Oh no,
filmed this.
okay.
Yeah. I've been playing Waifu Simulator, but in space.
Honkin' train time.
Honkin' train. I am officially on the train.
Honkai Star Rail. You are on the train.
It's, I really struggle to get into new games. And I really struggled to get into Honkai at first because that's a long tutorial. But because I kind of ignored a lot of it because I was like, I played Genshin a whole bunch. Like, this is mostly Genshin with like different words, right? Like Hoyo, I think Hoyo just has a dictionary and they just like flick to a random page, like put their finger on a word and they're like, yes, that is what we're gonna call like this specific feature. So I was like, it's fine, it's just Genshin with different words. So eventually I got through the tutorial and I cannot stop playing. I can't stop playing.
No.
I think it's kind of helped, or I guess not helped, by the fact that it's on mobile as well, right? So, and it runs really good on mobile. I would say my playtime is probably like 70% on the PC. Yeah. But then I was in the arcade playing Honkai. So I had like a little best of both worlds situation going on, right? I was like waiting for my turn on the machine, just playing Honkai. So
when Genshin first launched, like the very first week, I went hard into it. And I think I gave up partly because like I just wasn't feeling the combat. It was really cool, but something about like the hot swapping, just I was not very competent at. And also when I found out that the co-op is not very co-op, I was like, never mind, I don't want it. But during that first week, I did download it on my phone and I was playing like outdoors. It was like over the summer and I'm like sitting outside with my partner. I'm like playing Genshin on my phone. Yep. And our other resident Hoyo verse person, Tyler Kolb, has been feeding me Honkai opinions. So I do have it downloaded. Yes. I have not touched it yet. I have not logged in. I've probably missed my chance at some of those like first free codes.
Nah, that's still whatnot. Most of them are still going. You could do it. Yeah, Tyler is full of opinions, but
he is pushing me towards the Honkai, and I am resisting.
I think you should do it. There's something weirdly
I have it downloaded.
There's something weirdly rad about being able to be like, I don't feel like sitting at my desk tonight, and then I just go to bed and I just boot up Honkai on my phone. Like, is this how people with Steam Decks feel? Is this how the Steam Deck gang are feeling? It's like, I don't want to sit at my desk. I'm just going to go play all my video games portably instead. Like,
you still haven't broken on the Steam Deck.
I still have not. And like, as I was playing Honkai on my phone, I was like, is this what having a Steam Deck feels like?
I mean, a Steam Deck is like significantly bigger than a phone, but
the freedom,
generally, maybe the freedom,
yeah, like the how freeing it was. Just be like, I don't want to sit at my desk. I'm gonna go watch like trashy YouTube videos in bed while playing Honkai on my phone. So yeah, I think you should play, Lauren. I think it sounds like it's
Oh
a
no.
really good, healthy game for you to get
If I
into.
come back next week and I tell you I've been playing Honkai, everyone is free to tell me that something went wrong. Like you broke. You were supposed to hold the line and you fell prey. Oh no. Oh, now I've set myself up for failure, probably.
So what have you been playing?
I've been playing pop rock Pokemon.
Oh my god. Huh?
You know it.
Oh, is this Cassette Beasts?
It is Cassette Beasts. So we've got another monster catching Pokemon like that has just recently arrived, Cassette Beasts. This one has been in the works for a while. We've been keeping an eye on it for quite some time. You and I talked about this a little bit with Wes Fenlon on this podcast earlier this year about Pokemon like games. And I think I admitted then, and I admitted in what I've published on the site as well, that I sort of had stayed away from Pokemon games for a while. Something about turn-based combat, like eventually you get into this autopilot mode where you just roll everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I like best about Cassette Beasts right now, from the time I've spent with it, is it has so many interactions between elements. Like you can't just auto roll over anybody hardly. Like I was just in there taking screenshots of a battle to put on the site, and I was realizing that I was just in I'm trying to get a screenshot mode, just like attack, attack, attack. And I had used like my basic attack against a wind creature, and something about that interaction had made it create a barrier of wind that would absorb hits for the next 3 turns. And there's also wild things like using poison on either like an earth or a metal monster will coat its tips in poison also. So then when it uses melee attacks against you, now it does poison damage. There's so many interactions, turning things like conductive, like electrocuted. It's very neat. It's fun. It's not too intimidating, despite all that. It gives you nice symbols to help you remember what everything does. I've enjoyed the story so far. It's fun. The soundtrack is really neat. It is very pop rock. I think the video we have on our YouTube channel as well about Cassette Beasts, it's an interview with one of the developers, references they said the Sonic Adventure was one of their inspirations for doing vocals with their soundtrack. And so in my head, all I hear is escape from the city.
Amazing.
So, yeah, it's a good time. I've been having a really good time with Cassette Beast, and it has co-op if you want to play locally or use Steam Remote Play to
That's awesome.
Hop in together. So yeah, that's been a really good time. That's what I did last week. And hopefully I don't come back here and admit that I was playing Honkai next week. But
I hope you do. I really hope you do.
Someone hold me accountable. Don't let me get away with this. So now, Molly, you and I are off to talk with Ted about our favorite RPG romances.
Oh yeah. Enjoy.
The good, the bad, the ones we know are bad, but we like anyway.
But
there's definitely some of those.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, Ted, you are a man who plays RPGs. You are one of us. Tell us, are you a man who also pursues romance frequently in RPGs? Is that one of the things you look for? And I know you've played a lot of them over the years, just like we have.
Absolutely. It's a fun part of it, right? It's who doesn't, right? I think KOTOR was like my first big RPG, and yeah, Bastila, as lame as all that was, still better than Karth. Definitely go for the RPG romances.
If you're not blushing and choosing a spouse, you're lying. You're lying if you don't enjoy that. It's a good time. I think as we were getting ready to talk about this, of course, like one of my big foundational RPGs is the Dragon Age series. Dragon Age Origins is the entire reason I'm in this industry, is because I love that game so much. And I think we can pretty unanimously agree that that's one of the foundations of what we consider in like big RPG romances right now. I think people are still to a certain degree chasing the cinematic, talking bust to talking bust conversation, insert item, get a scene that is different levels of spicy and nudity to commemorate your investment in this individual and their personal side quests, right? Like that we're still seeing a lot of that in romantic RPGs.
That was a double-edged sword. When I was 14 and Dragon Age came out, and I asked for it for Christmas, my dad would not get it because he watched the trailer because I was still kind of content controlled, and he saw that like the underwear sex scene in like the loincloths that look like diapers. He's like, no, 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 no. You're not getting this one, Chief.
Oh no. When did you actually get to play Dragon Age then? Because I know you have.
A year later, my friend
Okay.
with divorced parents who had kind of free reign of the credit card, I passed him like $40 from like my summer job, and he gifted it to me on Steam, and that was how I played Dragon Age.
Oh, there are some benefits to being a child with divorced parents. I personally have loved being a child of divorce. It's given me the opportunity to play so many games that I definitely shouldn't have been playing as a youngster. So I rep that friend.
Including the illicit romances. I love that for both of you.
Yes.
Mollie, do you have something that was sort of foundational for you in this vein? I don't think it was Dragon Age.
It was not Dragon Age. I'm trying to think, right? Because I used to play a lot of JRPGs when I was a kid, but a lot of those are kind of, a lot of the ones that I played anyway, they were pre-established romances, right? They weren't like, I think you keep
Part of the
calling them like
story.
vending machine romances.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a vending machine romance. It was like already there, already built into the story. But I really remember loving Mass Effect 2 as I didn't play Mass Effect 1. I skipped the first one. I went straight into the second one because I have absolutely no respect for like sequence games at all. I played Kingdom Hearts 2 before I played Kingdom Hearts 1. I played Mass Effect 2 before I played Mass Effect 1. And I remember trying to romance Jacob first, which was a terrible decision in hindsight. Such a terrible choice.
Captain of the football team himself.
He's like the white bread of like the romance choices. He's so tragic. And then I remember being upset that I couldn't romance Miranda in the second one because they were like pretty heavily gender locked, if I remember. So then I settled on Garris, and Garris is my baby. I love him so much, and that was the first one I remember being like, oh yeah, I'm like, this is kind of fun, right? Like this is actually pretty enjoyable because I remember playing San Andreas, and there was a little bit of romance in San Andreas as well, but I never did that. From what I can remember, I remember the dates being really hard for my little like child brain to comprehend. And then in Mass Effect, it's just like, hey, I will be slightly nice to you and you'll like me.
Yeah, I've still never played a Mass Effect, which is criminal of me, but I know, I'm sorry. But Garris, I know, changed everything for many people. Garris remains a crowd favorite among the Mass Effect fans. Yeah.
I feel like that's like what you were saying at first about JRPGs is like a really interesting question for this. Like, is something like Final Fantasy VIII where there's like a love story built into the game, is that a video game romance, or do you have to have like the who among your hot funny companions do you want to date? Like, that's definitely a crucial part of it.
Yeah, like the level of self-insertion I think is vital, right? Like you can experience good video game romances that are already built
A
in and
story that
written.
includes a romance. Yeah.
Yeah, like with a very sort of defined protagonist that you're playing. But I do think it's a lot different when you're given some sort of freedom to shape your little protagonist in some sort of way, and then you're given the option to be like, hey, you wanna romance this person, maybe? Just a little bit?
Yeah, I personally really like seeing that like RPG participatory element, right? Like, yeah, it's not just a story that has a romance in it. And it's not just like you get to a pivotal point in the story and you choose between like the girl with dark hair and the girl with fun colored hair. Like, make your choice. Those are the two type of girls we have. I do really like, you know, the BioWare style romance of going on side quests, learning who your companions are as people, deciding who you want to give 5 jade necklaces to until their meter fills up to the point where you get a cutscene and they bare their soul to you and give you more of their backstory, right? Which I have made fun of in the past. I think it was when we did like a roast your favorites type thing. It's been like maybe even 2 years ago at this point that I definitely brought up BioWare romance and I was like, it's so silly, right? Like,
Mhm.
and that's why I call them vending machine romance is like insert items, insert dialogue choices, out pops your scene to tell you that you are now beloveds and maybe it has the loincloth diaper uh as well. See?
It's not a romance if you don't have to keep a meticulous spreadsheet detailing everyone's likes and dislikes and what each thing gives you in return. It's not romance unless you've got that. Unless you're keeping tabs on everything.
My girlfriend actually did that. She did a spreadsheet for
Oh yeah.
Fenris in Dragon Age 2 because he's like soft fash, like he hates mages and hates freedom. So like you have to meticulously plan out when he's gonna be in your party and when he's not if you want to be his
If
friend
you
and
want to
also
side with
friends
the
with
mages,
everybody else. Yeah.
yes, you
So I'm
do.
pretty sure she has a spreadsheet somewhere.
Oh my goodness. See that is romance. That's so romantic.
What is romance if not choosing when to bring your the person you're talking to with you with all your other friends? What
You're
is romance
slightly
if not that?
you're slightly suspiciously aligned friend that you have a crush on.
Me googling
BioWare
Fenris romance guide.
selling like this a generation of gamers on a fantasy of you will have like a family of friends who will stick by you thick and thin and uh being a boss and having a relationship with like your underling is okay
Anybody
and
who works
cool in
for you.
fact. They're all fair game. Awesome, man.
That's the whole point of Mass Effect, right? All of your crew, just fair game.
Yeah.
Don't worry that you're all at work. It's fine. We'll ignore that. Yeah, so if that style of romance, I think it's silly, even though of course I've admitted it's what brought me into this. Like I love those. There is a certain our brains love number go up, right? Like it's so
Mhm.
silly that I have to give Fenris his gifts and I have to give Morrigan the grimoire that proves that maybe I might have killed her mother, but also I can just give her other random gift objects I've bought from merchants. Like it's so silly, but our brains love to see meter go up, heart going towards love, or in I think Dragon Age 2 was you could do rivalmances. It was like friendship and rivalry, but that was like not controlling the romance. You could be rivals and in a romance. That was great. Speaking of Fenris. And yeah, I think there's good enjoyable parts of that, even though it's very silly, right? Like sometimes it's fun.
Yeah.
It's just like RPGs in general, right?
Yeah,
Like
RPGs are silly.
it's like it's Thaco, D6s, like it's all goofy, but we love it.
It's true.
What other than that makes a romance system good? I guess we've gotten so many different types. Like I've been harping on about Dragon Age, right? That's where I come from. But while we get lots of companies pursuing or lots of games pursuing that type, I mean, we've had Greedfall, Fallout 4 now has very BioWare style romances in it, and Fallout 76 does. The Witcher 3 is more of a choose your girl type thing
Mhm.
than other RPGs, just in the ways that it's different because you're Geralt. Cyberpunk has them, Divinity Original Sin 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Assassin's Creed games now are even a little bit that way, but we are getting some things that are different as well. Like Hades has romance choices. Hades is a roguelike, but people love the relationships in Hades. So I guess for the two of you, if we move beyond vending machine life, insert items, what do you actually enjoy about some of the different romance systems that we've seen from other games. Do you have any examples?
Ooh, I don't know. I do enjoy when, the dialogue options are a little like you said before, right? Like kind of remembering personalities of the people you're pursuing, and like the answers that you give kind of affecting how that relationship goes, right? Like games do it to varying degrees. Like I know Persona gives like different like point increases for your relationship based on uh like how much they like the answer. So I like stuff like that. I think stuff that just makes it a little more like personal. In Stardew Valley, it is literally just like spam the same gift over and over again, and then you get nice cutscene at like so many hearts, and then you just continue to spam them with the same gift, and like it's nice. I love Shane. I love my husband, but I don't really feel like I had to work for it. I like kind of feeling like I have to work for it and remembering things about them. I like that
What
because
is
I like
Shane's
that in real
favorite
life.
gift, Molly?
Hmm?
Do you I said, what is Shane's favorite gift, Molly? Do you remember
It's
that
like
about him? Do you know?
pepper. He likes beer. I remember that he likes beer. I think
We
he
know
likes
that.
yeah. I think he likes pepper poppers. Are they called as well? I think
You're right. He does.
yeah. I haven't played Stardew in like a year and a half, by the way.
But you remember that. I mean,
I do
so I'm
remember.
like lambasting those systems as silly, but like, yeah, I could probably tell you a few favorite gifts from like life sim characters for sure. Because that's one of the other
Mhm.
foundational romance categories. Like they're also RPGs, but at a very different kind. The like Harvest Moon Descendants, right? I mean, along before I was ever playing Dragon Age, I was playing Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life and choosing one of my 3 wives. So I guess my roots actually go farther back than I remembered. Ted, do you have an alternative romance system or a not exactly romance system that you've enjoyed?
You know it. It's
Tell me.
it's Harry Dubois and Kim Kitsuragi. Like I don't like whether you like. I think it's perfectly valid to like project or want to find like did Harry and Kim explore each other's bodies, but like even absent that, like that relationship, like what's just in the text, like that friendship is I think like one of the best I've ever seen in a game. Like very naturalistic. um it's kind of there's no gift giving involved. It's like a pure evolution on like the influence or approval system, and just being a good guy to Kim, just having Kim's back. And like you see over the course of like 5 days like a friendship evolve, and it's like wonderful. Like Kim's one of my favorite companions or favorite characters period in any game. I think they just nailed it there.
Kim is a national treasure of every nation. It's true.
True.
Would you say then that you really prefer when those systems are hidden from you, Ted? Like I was talking about numbers. We all like numbers, but really, does it feel better when you don't see the numbers?
I mean, I think that that extends to a lot of games. Like I think the more is hidden from you and like the more is kind of outside of your control strictly, and maybe that you have to puzzle out, like I think makes makes like RPG combat more fun and exciting. Like you like don't show me the numbers popping out of a guy when I shoot him. Like leave a little bit to the imagination. Like I think that that just makes it more interesting for sure.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
say probably same for me. And I do really like when things are slightly hidden. Maybe I should be playing more like visual novels or like Otome games because
Yes.
some of the things I
Yes, you should.
love. Yeah, Molly, I'm gonna hit you up for a Rex list. I clearly need this because I will do my quick Yakuza plug of the week. I always find a way to talk about the Yakuza games, but I've written about this for the magazine, and I think it's on the site as well. I love the couple Yakuza games that have the Hostess Club management minigame because there are these dates that you go on with your hostesses, practice dates. Again, the manager and their employees relationship. Why do we love to fictionalize that? But those dates are really fun because like Mollie said, you have to remember things about them. It's hard to know the right things to say on those dates with those girls. Like I think they're all so interesting. They all have like not strictly archetypical personalities. Like there's a sporty girl, there's the girly girl, there's a girl who likes photography, there's a girl that's like helping raise her younger brother. They're a little bit more complex than that though. They're not just like strict, Stardew Valley characters are archetypes, right? And that's part of what we enjoy about them. But I really love that I never know the right thing to say to them. And they always are testing you on like, were you listening? Do you remember our last conversation when I told you what my hobby was? Do you remember? And can you pick the dialogue option that relates to the thing that I confided in you? And I love that. That feels like more like a real person, of course, than, insert gift. If I could just give people gifts to make them like me more, life would be so much easier.
It'd be great, right?
It is not how it works.
Like I might be showing my ass a little bit here, and I 100% am showing my ass a little bit here. But a few years ago, I played this like Newgrounds game called Sim Girls. It is.
What is this?
It's an adult game. It's like an adult RPG. It's very old as well. But they all have like dates of birth. They have phone numbers, and you have to remember all of it because you'll be on a date and they'll be like, "What's my phone number?" And you have to type in the phone number like perfectly. And if you don't type in the phone number perfectly, like the bar just depletes massively. And it's like if you want to like rizz up these ladies, if you want to like get them to come back with you, you better fucking remember their phone number. You better remember their date of birth. You better remember their favorite color because it's not even multiple choice. You have to type the answers. So it's like an extra layer of memory, and it's a very dated adult game at this point, but it was
that hits a little too close to home because I put my girlfriend's phone number into my phone shortly after we started dating, and then like a year and a half down the line, like we're checking out at the store, and she's like, "Oh, could you put my phone number in for like the Target rewards?" I was like, "Oh crap, God, let me just get this right up." And she's like, "You don't know my phone number."
Who does?
We got through it.
No, I did this to my partner too years and years ago when we first started dating. And it was another, like, I was not testing him, but it was another like convenient situation where like, I don't remember what it was. What, like either he was going to be without his phone or something. I was like, "Do you know my phone number in case you need it?" And you
Get
don't
his
have
ass.
access to your phone number, So I don't know. I guess that really is important, being able to recite somebody's phone number if you want to date them. Who knew?
I got that on lock now.
Do you also know the favorite color and the date of birth and the middle name? All of the important steal your identity information,
No.
right?
Yes, we do, and I will not be repeating them. I will not be doxing her on this podcast.
What's
Great
your middle
answer,
name
great
and the
answer.
street you grew up on as a child?
But that was actually kind of fun. Like I said, the game is very janky. It's very dated at this point, but that aspect of kind of having to remember every tiny thing, and there's like 3 girls in that game as well, if I remember correctly. There's like 3 girls that you can romance. So that's 3 phone numbers. That's 3 dates of birth. That's 3 favorite colors. It's too much information for my tiny little brain.
It's like really old school, like Eye of the Beholder. You got to have like a notebook by your desk,
Yeah.
drawing a map as you go.
Write everything down.
Better be taking your notes in your phone after your date so you don't forget anything they talked about. And of course, like I always try to acknowledge where we're like joking about this stuff, and like we know why games aren't always the way that we're joking, the way that they should be, because in big bombastic RPGs of the 3D variety, the things like we got used to, romance is a side part of it that is not the main part of the game. So of course the romance system is numbers go up, insert gift. That's foundational to an RPG. Of course it is not a personality test. But in the Yakuza games, I love that's in there. In those big RPGs, they do actually have like half an Otome game in there, so it can be done. Um, I think one of the other games I wish did romance differently is Fallout, because Fallout didn't used to have romances like that. I mean, up through Fallout New Vegas, right? You could have encounters with people in certain situations, and they were part of quests, and they were usually comical in nature. As I'm remembering, there's one that involves putting a guy in a dumpster in Fallout New Vegas. Love that one. I think it's part of like the White Glove Society quest line, and they want to eat him, and you have to like seduce him into a dumpster so they can find him. I think that's how that goes.
It's
Anyway,
such a good quest.
it's such a good quest. Ted, do you roll a Black Widow or a Lady Killer? Do you do that too?
Yes, I saw the joke once. It's like bisexuals do plus 5% damage to everyone. And that's always stuck with me.
Oh, that's true. You always have to be have both if you can. I usually roll Black Widow in Fallout games when they let me, but I wish when Fallout had gone into investing more in those romances. I think clearly Bethesda saw like, oh, people like this and there are RPGs now. So Fallout 4 has quite a few romanceable people with side quests in that format. And what was such a bummer is they really went with the standard like pursue their quest, do the dialogue, pick the right dialogue option that is for flirting, and eventually they will like you. You just choose the right thing to say at the right time. And I miss the excellent extreme dialogue choices of Fallout New Vegas that were so stat controlled, like all the silly things you could do with certain min-maxed stats. Like you get into a quest and suddenly you're seducing a guy into a dumpster and you're like, I did not think that was gonna be one of the options. And I wish there was, if we're gonna be in an RPG where stats are so important, your special is so important in Fallout, I'm like, man, make some of these romances dependent like on those stats, and like not just your charisma, make you invest as a character, as a person, make you invest your person into being the kind of person that the person you want to romance likes, right? Like make some gameplay choices that affect your build and also the romance at the same time. I wish they had gone for like super stat depth like that.
Yeah, that would have been cool. I mean, it is at least a step up from Skyrim's put a necklace on and everyone's horny for you. Like
That thing, when I was thinking about this show that we were doing, like that was the one that always stood out to me. Like that, you got the necklace of husbandry. It feels like you're a caveman and you're knocking people out and dragging them back to your cave by the hair. It feels like pickup artist stuff. Like Skyrim always weirded me out so much with the way they handle it, because it's I think they added it with a patch, right? Like it's so tacked on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like put this necklace on, and if they're single, they'll do you. They'll come and move into your house, and they will come and live with you. And it's like I've had to do nothing. I've done nothing to achieve this. Yeah, I find that there's a really bizarre way for them to handle romance. But Persona does the stat thing a little bit. Yeah, because it has like 5 different stats, and it helps with other things as well, but some dialogue choices or some relationship like advancements are locked until you can reach a certain stat point, which I think that's nice, and it kind of forces you to strategize your days out a little bit as well if you want to advance your relationship with a particular character, be it for romance or for whatever buffs they provide. So I like it. I think it's cool.
Sorry, you mentioning being provided with buffs. We're getting a little outside of PC gaming here, but I just flashed back to Fire Emblem and how that game with the time travel. So
Three Houses. Wait, no, not Three Houses. Awakening.
We're going back. Awakening, and I just like set like having like your cute anime army like all fall in love with each other, and then it's like you're doing human husbandry to produce like the supreme offspring to fight in your later army. Like, do we ever stop to think about the implications here?
No, not at all.
I also really enjoyed playing Matchmaker in Awakening, and I didn't play Three Houses. I know people really like the romance elements or choosing your faves in Three Houses as well. But I played Awakening, and it is fun to match your little people up. Don't just stop at yourself. You can also initiate romances for all the rest of the people under your control.
I think for me, not to turn this into a Fire Emblem podcast, but it
Oh
was
no,
like
please do.
Awakening was the last one that was like a little bit more grounded. Like, it's not realistic or historically accurate, but it was kind of like, this feels like a very anime interpretation of like a medieval sort of setting, sort of like the older 2D games or like Berserk or something. Whereas like afterwards, it goes like full on like, oh no, like what is like, this is full anime.
Do either of you guys have good examples of games where there are romance elements and some of them are not initiated by the player? That's another wish list thing for me. Is it's very
Oh.
like RPG power fantasy where like you're always in control of that situation, right? You're the one that chooses when you choose the flirty dialogue option. You're the one who chooses this, that, and the other. You are always the one, because it's an RPG, who's determining what happens next. And it might be me looking for otome games again, but sometimes things being taken out of your control a little bit or not being able to see the consequences. And Disco Elysium is a little bit that way of some things are just out of your hands, but yeah.
Yeah, I think you are just looking at like otome games.
No.
Yeah, it's like
I never knew I was an otome games girl.
got like 10 men all pursuing you at the same time, and then you have
Okay,
to
not
pick.
that.
Yes, it's not actually that different, really. It's just that everyone fancies you and they're very obvious about it, rather than everyone apparently secretly fancying you and being not so obvious
Just
about it.
waiting for you to say the right thing
Yeah.
to unlock it.
Well, the one that actually does kind of stand out to me is I distinctly remember like Anders in Dragon Age 2 will kind of come on to you like if you're just like
He
friendly or
does.
in like a good point with him. And that's dope. And I remember distinctly because it feels so distant now. Like Dragon Age 2 has had like a second and third act and it's like reappraisal by gamers. But that was like an early like gamer rage moment, and I remember everybody hated that Anders comes onto you and you take a slight influence hit if you turn him down. But that was good. That was like good writing. That was like an interesting thing that could happen in your game.
Ted, I knew I needed you here because this morning, before we sat down together, I was thinking about asking this question. I was like, there is an answer to this question that I have experienced. I know there's one of those, like, something that you didn't see coming and not initiated by you, someone who has feelings for you, even if you don't do anything as the player, a story that is out of your control as an RPG player. Should have known it was Dragon Age. It was Anders. You're right, because he does have a thing for oh gosh, what's your title in Dragon Age 2? The hero of Kirkwall, the savior of Kirkwall.
Champion of Kirkwall.
Champion. Whoever you are of Kirkwall in Dragon Age 2, he does have feelings for you, sort of like uninitiated, even out of your control, which is like, hey, that's a story, I enjoy that. Yeah.
Maybe I should play Dragon Age.
Well, you
Sounds
should
like
play
something I
Dragon
need to
Age.
do.
Tyler.
Yeah.
Also, all of you should play Mass Effect 1. Don't listen to the haters. I think like I like 1 and 2 equally, but people are so down about Mass Effect 1 that I want to say it's the best just to be a contrarian. I love all the things that everybody hates about Mass Effect 1. It's so good.
Also,
Maybe
don't
I
listen
should
to
try
anybody and play Dragon Age 2. Same thing. I don't remember if it was me or my brother that sabotaged my sister and had her play Dragon Age 2 before any of the other Dragon Age games. I don't know how she accidentally got like walked backwards into playing that game first, but that's not the right order, but who knows? Molly, you stand up for the play the second game first order, so maybe we'll make you do that too.
I just thought about your question as well. Sorry, I had a little like light bulb moment. I don't know if it counts, but in Catherine, you have like the Catherine with a C who is actively pursuing you while you're with Catherine with a K, right? And then full body adds in Rin as well as like sort of the neutral between the two, I guess. Like Rin is someone that you can kind of go out of your way to pursue a little bit. But yeah, like you've got this entire game where Catherine with a C is actively trying to get you to like falter, right? And then meanwhile you've got Catherine with a K who's just kind of there and like, hey, I'm your girlfriend. Don't fucking forget that. And I quite like that actually, like thinking about it, kind of having that choice of, oh shit, do I wanna see what happens with the funny flirty blonde Catherine, or do I wanna stay with my nice kind of mean Catherine? So yeah, that's one, I guess. It kinda counts.
Yeah,
Kinda.
Catherine is such a ride. Like, I have not played it myself. I've seen some friends play it and I've seen cutscenes, so I'm familiar enough. But yeah, that's a great example. Catherine is quite the experience, from everything I've seen and been told, right?
It is an experience. It's there's some typical Atlas yikes uh narrative threads that are in it. The way Atlas handles like trans people isn't always amazing, and it's not amazing in Catherine either. They sort of rectify parts of it in full body, but not massively. But the story, like kind of the main body of the story, is still really interesting, and it's the way that they handle the little romance between the two Catherines is really cool.
Molly, you asked us how defensive we get over our
Yes.
faves. Our little okay, so who is your fave and how defensive are you willing to be of your faves when the inevitable conversation of RPG romances comes up with, friends off work hours?
Very, very. It doesn't matter who I picked, in what game I picked it, so I'm going to be defensive about it, right? Like we got into a conversation, this was ages ago now, we got into a conversation about persona romances in the work Slack. This was a while ago now. We got into like a heated discussion over like the Persona 4 cast of who we liked the most. And I think because it's kind of like a reflection of you, right? It's a reflection of you and a reflection of your taste and maybe kind of your personality as well. So I think it can say a lot about you, which is why I think I get quite defensive, because I'm like, I'm correct because I have good taste. And if you disagree with me, you're saying I have bad taste. And I don't like to be criticized.
Molly, I didn't know that you picked Shane in Stardew Valley, so I do feel like I learned something today
Yeah,
that I
see?
wasn't planned
See?
to.
This
It
is what
does
I'm
mean
saying.
something.
For a non Stardew player, can you guys like give me the elevator pitch on Shane? So like I have that
Yeah,
Ooh.
pitch
context.
Shane, Molly.
So Shane is the archetype that I fall in love with in every single bit of media that I consume. He's like the standoffish, kind of mean guy that is just deeply, deeply troubled, kind of mentally ill, and has a problem with alcohol. Um, but it's the very much the I can fix him kind of thing, right? It's the you talk to him and he opens up a little bit more, and then you find out how mentally ill he is, and it's like, oh, he's just like me for real. And then you get a little bit closer, and then he becomes a changed man, all because of you.
Molly, did you play Dream Daddy?
Maybe.
Did you pick Robert? Did you
I
pick
picked all
Knives
of
Dad?
them.
What?
Is Robert the
You picked
one
all
that is Robert the
the
one that
leather
tries to like
jacket.
yeah, and he tries to sleep with you like very early on in the game. Oh, he
Yep,
also kind of pursues you in that sense.
you're right. Yeah, that's kind of true.
But
In a
I picked all
similar
of them.
sense to how maybe we can enjoy the Mass Effect fantasy while also recognizing don't pursue relationships with your coworkers. Blanket, you cannot fix them to everybody out there.
Don't shit where you eat. You can't fix them because no
You
consequences.
can't fix anybody. That's not your job, mate.
But I could try in a video game. I just love it. I love the trope. Like cranky villagers are my favorite villagers in Animal Crossing because they're so mean to you, and then they get really nice to you when you get close to them. The manga and anime Fruits Basket. My favorite character is Kiyosoma. I had the biggest crush on him when I was a kid because he's really mean to Toru at first. He's really like standoffish, but then
because he likes her so much.
But because he likes her, and he hasn't had the best life. He hasn't been treated the best, and Toru fixes him. And
Kyo's the cat, right?
Yeah,
of
Kyo's
course
the
he's
cat.
The cat, Ted.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. We're just touching on several things I'm tangentially aware of.
Yeah, Kyo's the cat.
We're going to introduce you to so many things today that we didn't think we were going to.
Yeah, that personality type just really gets me going. I love it.
Ted, who's your fave? How defensive are you?
Well, this just made me think of a time when I grew and learned, mea culpa, because first time I played The Witcher 3, I hadn't read anything from The Witcher.
Mm-hmm.
I just played the games. So I'm like, who the hell is this new girl? I don't know Yennefer. I've spent like 40 hours like talking to Triss and like no Triss. So I went with Triss. And then like I actually read like the Witcher short stories. I still haven't finished the novels because the first novel is all about Geralt's relationship with Triss, and it's stultifying. It is like eating unseasoned, slightly undercooked white rice. Like just not good literature. And then it was like waking up. It's like, oh, like Triss kind of sucks. From a taking advantage of Geralt angle, from her storyline in The Witcher 3 is quite good, but Witcher 1 and 2, like, it's not like a very well realized arc. So, mea culpa, Yennefer all the way.
Yennefer's the black-haired one, right?
Yes.
She's the
Triss
mean
is
one.
the red-haired.
I'm so proud of you, Ted. I'm so glad. Oh, this is the
growth.
Okay. Yes, growth. I would not say that Yennefer is like my favorite romance, but of things that I'm willing to be defensive of, if people bring up The Witcher, I will get defensive of Yennefer because yes, then I turn into a really one of those grognards who's like, have you played? Have you played The Witcher 1 where you see how Triss takes advantage of Geralt's memory loss to have a relationship with him because he doesn't remember Yennefer. Yeah, because you get to The Witcher 3 and you're like, I don't know, Yennefer's kind of cold, huh? But yeah, Yennefer all the way.
She has her reasons.
She does have her reasons. We support women's wrongs, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is such a good bit. If you romance Triss, and then there's that bit in Kaer Morhen where you're like gathering the troops, and like you run into Yennefer in like the top floor room, which in The Witcher 1 is where you slept with Triss, and if you are in a relationship with Yennefer, it's like she's just kind of in a bad mood, but if you broke it off, she's pissed at you, and if you push things too far, she teleports you like a mile away above a lake, and like you fall into the lake, like if you sass her, and I love that. Like that is such a good bit.
I love that. I really
That
do
is
love that.
beautiful. I don't think I've ever experienced that personally in The Witcher. I mean, of course, I've not experienced that personally.
You've never been teleported above a lake before?
I have never spurned my recent ex and been teleported over a lake in retrospect. No. I don't know who my all-time favorite is, but I guess I've admitted I'm willing to be very defensive. If we're talking about like Dragon Age 2, like yes, I was the Fenris girl. but like Alistair in Dragon Age 1, everybody likes Alistair. He's just a nice man. He's just a good man.
He's a good boy.
He is a good boy. I feel like Mollie, I probably also have an archetype. I also went with Robert in Dream Daddy, and I want to be a person that goes with like Abigail every time in Stardew, but the truth is I probably pick someone else. I'm definitely that. You know the sound that went on TikTok like a year or more ago, where it's, you know, my girlfriends will show me the ugliest guy I've ever seen and say thoughts and prayers. I don't know what you want from me. Like,
Yeah.
that's probably me. She's just like me for real. Yeah. But I think probably I'm not too defensive of my taste. I know what kind of trash I am.
No, I'd be defensive of your trash, Lauren. I will be endlessly defensive of my trash. Genuinely, one of my favorite romances is just the fact that you can fuck everybody in Saints Row 4. Like, I love that. I know that they're just taking the piss out of like the BioWare, like Mass Effect romances. But I just love how you could just go up. It's everyone except who's the guy that's like himself in I forget who it is. There's like one person that you cannot romance in Saints Row 4, and that's it. Everyone else is just like DTF. You go up to them, they're like, fuck it, we might die. Let's get down. It does not matter who they are, except who is it? I forget who it
Keith
is.
David
Hold
in
on.
that game? Like he always voices the president. Is he playing himself in a Saints Row game? I was watching my friend play that game over his shoulder, and like that's my entire Saints Row experience that I'm drawing on here.
I love Saints Row 4. I think I put it in in our best romances in PC gaming. Did I do that? Or was I just
Nah, man, you picked
I didn't.
a Final Fantasy game.
I picked Titus and Yuna, yeah, or Tidus as they try and tell us it is, and I disagree.
It's Titus.
I massively disagree with it being Tidus. I forget who it is. There's one person that you're not allowed to romance, and it's very funny. But I like that's one of the few times I enjoy just putting no effort into it. Is because it's just parodying BioWare crap.
Shout out to Varric Tethris, man who can't be romanced. That's all I have.
For real. I can't, like, his girlfriend in Inquisition is like just it's like a generic dwarf lady NPC, and she's like not cool and not interesting. It's like how like I feel like Blizzard read the room wrong with like everybody wanting to have sex with the Overwatch characters, and also like write them as queer characters, and so they're like, look, Tracer has a girlfriend. It's this like, I think Tyler has since informed me that Tracer's girlfriend does have a name, but it's like, did she only appear in like a single panel of a comic? It's like fully off screen, like just you know.
Yeah, she's just not there. Blizzard just loves to like retcon their characters. It feels I don't want to say it feels like J.K. Rowling-y, but it's just like, oh, this person's gay now, and it's like they were like queer coded before, like when they said that Symmetra was autistic, right? It was like they were like, you know, she was kind of coded as neurodivergent, but it's like can you just make them gay off the bat, please? Like they did it in Mass Effect 3 as well, right? Like a bunch of characters that you couldn't romance if you were the same, like if you were FemShep, you couldn't romance Miranda. I'm pretty sure in Mass Effect 3 you can.
Yeah, BioWare went through that whole era of everybody's bisexual, and then they went past that, and they're like, never mind, everybody's an individual. And I guess people have reasons for liking it one way or the other, probably. The one is very RPG, like everybody's on the table, and the other is definitely more story-like of, you know, characters are characters. So
yes,
take your pick, I suppose.
I like everyone being on the table. I think, you know, it's nicer than if if like, if you want to be a female like presenting character and pursue other female like NPCs, right? But I'm trying to think of a game where they do have like sort of established sexualities.
That is something where maybe this is not super defensive of the romance, but just being defensive of Cyberpunk 2077 in general.
Oh
It's
yeah.
better than a lot of people thought. I thought those like the romance characters in that game, especially it's Judy and Carrie, like genuinely good, like, and really like fun weird quests, like where you go on dates with them. It's like Carrie, he's this aging gay rocker that you can pursue, who is like fully washed up, and you can be the thing that like sparks him having like a like finding his mojo again. And there's like a bit where you set a yacht on fire and watch it sink from the shoreline. And then like Judy, there's a quest where like you go like scuba diving in a flooded town. It's like, oh, this is like genuinely very well done. Like, these are good characters.
Is
Ted,
Judy
you're
the
an
one
I
that
can
you
fix
can
him guy after all.
Is Judy the one that you can only romance if you're playing Femme V?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I remember a lot of my guy friends complaining that they couldn't romance Judy. It's like just play female V. I that is the one time I think I will advocate for like defined sexualities, is when you can really sort of use that to enrich someone's story and their identity, right? Instead of just being like, oh, they might be gay, they might be straight, that's up to you. It's like, no, these bitches gay. Good for them. Good for them.
It's very life simmy to have to just like take your pick of everyone. It's very Stardew Valley Harvest Moon. The world is your oyster because this is a life simulation and you can have anything you want. RPGs definitely lean more into the characters as characters.
Mm-hmm.
They're their own people.
Something kind of made me think of going back a ways, like Planescape Torment. There's like a chaste succubus voiced by Jennifer Hale, and it's like you can have like you can form this friendship bordering on a completely like non-physical relationship with this character. And I always kind of appreciated that, like this kind of very non-standard idea of a relationship in this game. It's very non-standard and has like a very bittersweet, spoilers, ending, but also like entire through line of just like this world is strange and does not operate by your rules, and also like love and friendship in it does not operate by your kind of preconceived notions.
I love that.
I love it. Bring us pain. That's what we really want from our RPGs, right? In romance and in all things. Bring us some pain, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Make me
the
regret
good
my
stuff.
choice.
Back to
make me regret.
all the way back around to Disco Elysium is
yeah.
it's a little bit painful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. Kim's friendship would not be as meaningful if you couldn't, like turn him down on a high five, make his favorite radio DJs hate him, accidentally like say horrible things to him on the dance floor, trying to make him dance and like kind of ruin the mood at a party, right? Like the fact that those things are there makes being Kim's friend like all the more worthwhile.
Yeah.
You speak the truth. Awesome. Well, thanks, Ted, for coming and talking with Mollie and I about romance. Thank you for laying it all out for us. We have all admitted our sins today, I think.
We've gone to a dark place and we've come back. Thank you for having me on.
We've grown. We've learned.
Cool. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye.